When Spider-Man: Homecoming brought the web-slinger into the MCU, the creative team explored tons of different ideas before deciding on the final look we saw on screen. Today, we're taking a closer look at the unused concept art from Spider-Man: Homecoming. From alternate suits to designs that never made it past the drawing board, these artworks reveal a fascinating look at what this version of Spider-Man could have been. Let's dive in. Every superhero has to start somewhere, and that includes a first costume. Not only is this version entirely plausible for a high school student to have created on his own, but this Spider-Man's homemade suit also showcases a new color palette for the web-slinger. Artist Ryan Meinerding explains, "There are runs in the comics where the blue on Spidey's suit is actually a lighter blue than the value of the red, and I just always loved that concept. The homemade suit was really based on trying to find a way of getting that color scheme with the powder blue and a really strong red, and using a Todd McFarlane spider on the chest. It just felt like a more innocent version of Spider-Man. And since Holland was going to an actual high school Eid, it made sense having suit that has an almost Hild-like innocence to it." This suit we've focused on shows how the design drew inspiration from different suits and comic eras, particularly the second Clone Saga, where Ben Reilly debuted as the Scarlet Spider. When I was a kid, I would get those drawings that would show the cutaways of the suit and show what Spider-Man's actual web shooter looked like, and the stuff in the comics was always silver and always had a pretty prominent trigger button. In the previous movies, I always wished there was more of that type of exploration. I also thought an external web shooter could be fun because you could see him refilling cartridges, like it could become part of the action. It wouldn't just be this thing that he was so cool that his webs would just happen without you seeing it. In contrast to Spidey's makeshift suit, the Stark-made Spider-Man costume is a high-tech wonder. Having a costume created by Tony Stark helps explain not only its degree of technological integration, but also other surface-level design elements for too sophisticated to have sprung from a 15-year-old's mind. In these designs, we can once again see the influence of Ben Reilly, particularly the suit he wore when he took on the mantle of Spider-Man in the 1990s. In Ryan's words, a lot of the stuff up front is, how do we make this different from the previous versions? If Tony Stark designed this suit, let's bring in some of the design detailing that Tony would have put into it, like what he had already put into Captain America's costume, and then let the spider be a little bit more technologically driven. The first version I had done was a red and black suit, with a different kind of detailing on the chest. If you look back at Steve Ditko's original run, because so much of the dark areas are actually black with blue highlighting, you could argue that the suit is actually red and black, which is one of the things we were trying to pitch. But there is also the general notion in the public of who Spider-Man is, and it's not red and black. Here we can see the influence of another character who has taken on the Spider-Man mantle, Otto Octavius, during his time as the Superior Spider-Man. Even the logo from the classic symbiote suit was considered, as well as some black and red variants reminiscent of the Superior Spider-Man, designs that likely inspired the suit he wore in Far From Home. As with any piece of technology, there's a chance Spider-Man's smart costume could stop working, experience a glitch, or stall out issues Peter never would have experienced when his suit was made of cloth. Artist Rodney Fuentebella explains what he wanted to achieve in these images, saying the following: "For the light-up suits, we wanted to come up with an idea of different ways of how to show how the suit is malfunctioning. I wanted to show that if the suit is having issues and going crazy, there could be some LED lights going off or something similar to visually let Peter know something was going wrong with the suit. Basically, if it goes off, something isn't going well at all." Up to this point, we've already seen the hero. Now let's move on to the villain, and his henchman. Regarding Shocker, the artist Rodney Fuentebella explains, "For the Shocker, we wanted to not make it seem too much like a costumed character, but still be inspired by the original Shocker from the comics by giving him the same lines, coloring, and texture schemes. We also repurposed Crossbone's gauntlet from Captain America: Civil War into that Shocker look. Since a lot of the bad guy tech comes from repurposed items that were stolen from other movies, we figured this could be another item that was altered." And regarding Vulture himself, director John Watts reflects on the intentions behind his design as follows: The idea that you would just build a suit to look like a vulture is very showboaty, and somewhat old-fashioned. I think there's an element to that we can touch on, but for me it's more of why you would need a wingsuit in the first place. And if you can come up with a good reason for him to need a wingsuit, then it's just working backwards from there. Why is this real? Why would you have this? Why do you need to fly up to a certain height? If you fly up to a certain height, would you need a helmet? Do you need something for when there's no oxygen when you get to high altitude levels? Artist Josh Nitze explains the helmet's design as follows. The new F-35 Joint Strike Fighter helmets have this thing where there is eye tracking on the face shield, and they have these green lights that project over the pilot's eyes, so it's kind of riffing off this technology. If he's flying at night, it can be kind of like night vision goggles, and of course it can help convey the green color of the vulture from the comics. It's a bit menacing. The outer green is also reflected inside the mask on the HUD display. It's also a little sinister in the way it highlights his face. And regarding the wings and how they work, Ryan Meinerding explains, I pitched the idea of having the rotors being part of the wings and then fold backwards when he needed to hover. It also seemed that if you had a set of wings that big, somebody's body couldn't support them, so it would end up needing a different kind of propulsion for going fast versus slow speeds. I had done an initial flat graphic that they seemed to like with the circular rotors flat against the wings, and then Josh Nitze finished the design and did a great job. Artist Josh Nitze adds by explaining, the idea was to make it less like the Falcon's backpack wings and more like a vehicle. So the wings got larger and the suit got bigger, and it really kind of set it apart from the Falcon stuff. I think a lot of it was trying to find the balance in the design, and trying to find poses that could work with the mass. Initially, the vulture was going to be somebody with previous ties to the Falcon, so we purposely tied him visually to that a little bit, with an ex-military look. The wings and gear were always supposed to look a bit cobbled together, kind of like a prototype version, a larger, clunkier version of what the Falcon has. In John Watts's words, do you have to stay warm? Is this military technology? Or is it this a hacked sort of thing that the tinkerer has built? How many personal embellishments would you put on this if it was basically custom made for you? So I think within that world, you get to have a lot of fun with why it looks the way it looks. But Peter isn't the only hero in the film, as his mentor also makes an appearance. Iron Man hasn't changed much since his last appearance on film, but his new paint job gives him a fresh look. It's also a nod to the Iron Man design from the Ultimates comics. Phil Saunders explains, basically, I did several variations on the existing Mark 47, all in different ways to get a different graphical scheme. And the one that they gravitated toward and liked was the one based on the Ultimates. And that wraps up our look at the unused concept art from Spider-Man: Homecoming. It's amazing to see how many different directions the movie could have taken before landing on the final design. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe for more, and let me know in the comments which concept you think should have made it into the film.